Here's a Tatung 12-inch oscillating fan. I'm not really sure when these were made. In some of the other reviews that I've seen, people have said from the 80s, but it just has more of a 90s look, in my opinion. Late 80s, maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that it is from the 80s. It has a non-polarized molded plug with a thin cord that would seem to be a little older. Plug it in, but I don't know. It just kind of seems like a 90s product, like a very early 90s. I would guess that the 80s Tatung fans would be more like this badge here. That looks very 80s to me. Electric fan model LC-12, LC-12. 55 watts, Teton Company of America. There's no made in information. There's no, I don't know, I guess maybe nobody was proud enough to say where this fan was made. This was the second fan that I bought from the person who also sold me the 16-inch Lasco oscillating fan, which I believe would have been the video right before this one. It was a twofer. This one is by far the better condition of the two. I would have said that this fan didn't have a lot of use on it because it's in really good shape cosmetically. Well, it's in really good shape all around, but it was really dirty in the motor housing. The motor housing was all full of dust and it's pretty gross in there, but the fan is really clean. It is now. I mean clean in the sense that there's really no rust on the guard. There's no cracks or stains or anything on the base. The sticker's in really good condition. No markings or chips or fading or anything. The base is yellowed slightly, but not too bad. Just very slightly. I thought it was interesting that they painted the rear guard white, but they left the front chrome. I guess at that time, late 80s, I'm thinking companies were putting on the 6 and 9-inch fans, they were putting white plastic rear guards on a lot of the fans. I wonder if that was kind of a modern look thing maybe they were going for. There was some thought into that. Somebody was looking at this fan trying to think of how they could make it look more up with the times, more modern or whatever, and instead of using a plastic rear guard, they figured they would just paint the rear guard white. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. It's fine with me. It's just somebody was at least putting some thought into designing this fan. I can appreciate that. Yeah, so there's no country of origin really as far as manufacturing goes, but it seems to be a pretty well-made fan. I like the look of it. It's a really nice looking fan. It's really plain, but also tasteful, I guess. It has some elements of cheapness. I guess The base looks like it's kind of cheap, but then again, I mean, this thing is in such good condition that I can't even really say that, because it seems like the fan was heavily used by the amount of dust and stuff that was built up in there. Like, it's got these big block keys, piano keys. Those are hard to miss. I like it though, it's cool. It seems like a really high quality blade also. Looks like an acrylic blade like in the old Galaxy fans. I can definitely appreciate that. The fan even kind of sounds like the old Galaxy fans. It's a different motor though. I checked. Another thing I really like about it is that it has oil ports over the front and the rear bearing. So all I did was blow the motor out with compressed air, and I didn't open the motor. I didn't clean anything inside the motor. I just used compressed air on it and oiled the wicks. There was oil ports, but the wicks actually ran all the way up to the top of the oil ports, so it actually functioned really well. And the wicking material seemed to be high quality also. It wasn't the stuff that just disintegrates. It was actually still functional and holding up really well, and it took the oil well. The fan didn't want to run at all when I got it. I started it on low and it wouldn't move. Turned it up to high and it started moving slowly. But I oiled the wicks, put a drop of oil through the front of the motor shaft, waited a while after I cleaned it, and it's a little bit of a slow start, but then it got going, and now it seems to be performing very well. There are two minor issues with the fan that are not deal breakers for me by any means, but one isn't even really an engineering flaw. It's more of a operator kind of a deal. So I noticed that there was red stains, red spots, like all over this side of the base, and even some on the other side, and it looked like blood. So what the heck, did somebody bleed all over this fan, or somebody stick their finger in the guard, lose a finger, or what? As if that would happen. But yeah, it was all over the base of the fan, especially down this one side. And I got the motor housing off and figured out that they just put way too much grease in the oscillating gears and all over. I mean, it kind of got all over everything. The good thing is it cleaned up well. It didn't stain the base, which I'm really surprised. I think it was probably sitting on there for a long time. And it wiped right off and it didn't stain it. I can't see any like remnants of it or anything. But I got that all cleaned up. Aside from that, the only thing that I don't like about this is you have a hole here and one on the opposite side where the guard fits on, and those don't line up right. You kind of have to smash it in there, and then even when you smash it in, smash the pins through the rear guard. Once you get that far, then the clips don't want to fit right. So there's the guard alignment issue, and then just the simple fact that they put way too much grease on the back of the motor at the factory. Other than that, I really like this fan. I really like the way it looks, and it sounds cool, and it moves a lot of air. It runs really well. 10 minutes into this now, and I haven't even started it yet, but here's high. It has that really distinct whirring sound, kind of similar to the Galaxy fans. And aside from that noise, the fan is really quiet. If you just eliminated that whirring noise that I'm talking about, it would be near silent. But if there is going to be a motor sound, I would prefer it to be that one. Here's low. There's really no vibration in the fan either. Pretty close to zero. So that in itself is pretty impressive. I don't know how much these fans retailed for, but I want to say they were on the cheaper side. I'm not sure. I think they made a lot of them. I think they got a lot of distribution. It seems like these are more common than a lot of the other fans from this era. Oscillates nice and slow and smooth. You don't get any of the fast, jerky stuff going on. That's pretty good, pretty darn good for not having opened the motor at all, cleaned out the bearings or anything. All I did was use compressed air, oiled the wicks, and cleaned up the base and everything, cleaned the blade, cleaned up beautifully. It's pretty much like new. Yeah, I don't really know where these fans were on the pricing side, but it seems like a pretty high quality fan to me. The base, some of the plastic seems on the cheaper side, but I like the guard design, the badge design. It has a high quality blade. It has seemingly a very high quality motor. I really like this fan. My mother-in-law, I'm working on a project for her right now. This is the 16-inch Teton, and this is the motor that came out of that. It does not have oil ports, unfortunately. I think this one is obviously older than this fan here, but the fan was missing the guts for the oscillator, and so that didn't work. And she also had it mounted on a Galaxy base, which currently has an Air King motor on it with the fully functional oscillation. So I'm trying to get this back together for her. The only issue now is a blade. I can't really use the original, or the blade that was on the fan. This is the blade, and I don't even know if this is a Tatung blade. It doesn't really look like it. I don't know what this is from. It was her mother's fan. So who knows, man? This all went down probably in the 80s, 90s, when whoever, I'm guessing her brother was an electrician. I'm guessing he's the one, or maybe her husband, he liked to tinker around with stuff out in the garage too. It wouldn't surprise me if he threw a couple of busted fans together and built her something that would work, but the oscillator didn't work. And the bearings were pretty stiff, and it just needed some attention, so I offered to take it for her and try to do something with it and return it to her where it looks the same, but it works a lot better for her. And I'd like to give it back to her with the same blade. So now the issue is I'm going to be looking for some kind of adapter, because this doesn't fit on the motor shaft. This bore is slightly larger than the Air King motor shaft, and I don't have any parts that I can borrow from other fans to get the oscillator working on that Tatung motor. But I'll figure something out. I've got time, and I just want to get it done right. But yeah, we'll do the high speed on this one more time and one more spin down, just because it sounds cool. Thanks for watching.